Hi there guys, this is Ms. Hurst and I'm coming at you with another How I Plan for Remote Instruction. We have now moved on to our second phase where everything is graded, and I want to take you through my course and what it looks like so you can see. So right now I am on the landing page here for my Schoology course for my honors class. And right now what you can see is that I have an announcement here on my Schoology telling them that this unit's due by Friday. And that if they have questions, they can come to office hours. All you have to do this is take a copy of any image and you can insert it as a banner in your Schoology. It's pretty awesome. So as before, I still have my Read Me First section where I give general things as well as my office hours and everything going on. Then you'll see that there is this trigonometry unit. This is for a grade and the due date for it. When I click on that folder, you can see that I now have another completion folder going on here. If I click the Student Progress button, I would be able to see everything that they've done so far. I've set it up so that this folder is in a must complete form. So what you'll see here in just a moment, since I have so many rows, it takes a second to load, is that I have these requirements being completed in sequential order. So they have to read this first, watch this video, and then they need to complete the folders for days 1 through 5. Finally, to end the unit out, I have a final assessment on trig that they can take until they score a 70 out of 100 on to show that they have achieved some sort of mastery on the topic. Now, what's in each folder? Well, they're pretty much the same idea in each, but you'll see here. So if we look here, the Read This First just kind of details everything that's going on, and it includes that audio recording because I always want to record for anyone who doesn't necessarily have the best reading, so sometimes it's easier to listen to. I also have a video here, just as a fun intro video I got from Class Hook. I can use this next button up top in order to move through this folder. So the next thing you have is a video of me explaining trig. We're not going to watch that because we got enough video going on here. So then we have my day 1 folder. So you'll see that it starts with an Ed Puzzle video that I have integrated in. Again, all you do for that is hit Add Materials, go to Ed Puzzle. You can check my other videos if you need to know how to do that. Then I have a 1-page trig summary. So I've been calling them 1-pagers after this folder, and they have to view that item. You'll see they had to score at least a 5. It was supposed to be 50, but we'll let them score at least a 5. Then there's some sort of practice that they have to turn in, and that's going to auto grade for me. So in this case, it's a quizzes, and they're just submitting a screenshot of that quizzes. What that does for me is all I do is I get the notification that they submitted something, I check and make sure it hit the 80, and then I give them the full 100 points because that means that they completed it the way I need them to. So after that section with the practice, then there's a discussion board, and I have a discussion board every day. So you'll see here with my discussion board that they have to watch this trig video, review the 1-pager, and ask some questions. In order to get credit for the discussion board, they have to post at least once and respond to at least one other person. What this does is it still allows them to collaborate, work together, answer each other's questions, but it does it in a way that I'd like them to. Now, I don't have the moderation turned on because my kids this year are actually really good. But in past years, I've had to have moderation turned on where I approve their posts prior to them getting posted. One of the key details I like to use for this is I like to make it so that they have to post before they can see everybody else's discussion topic, and that makes it harder for them to cheat. So if you look down here, it'll say members can see other responses before participating, and that's just an option that is there. All right. So the way that I end every day is with 2 separate pages, and that's a what now and a feedback form. My what now pretty much looks the same except I change it by the days. Just basic questions I would ask them, same thing in class. Do you have everything done? Are you just waiting on me to grade it? Are you done for the day? And if you're done, I gave them some tips. Go outside, get some fresh air, stop looking at this, do something for another class, take a break from math, because if you try and do all 5 of these days in conjunction, yeah, you can do it, but you're going to be burnt out and you're not really going to remember it. So I have to review their submission before they can move on to the day 2 folder because I have to have graded that assignment for them. So it kind of takes away a little bit of the heat on me as well from, I can't move on to this folder, why can't I move on? they know that I'm going to get there and grade it. The final thing that I have in every folder is a feedback form. And you can see it here. And I always have some sort of feedback form. I like to know what they think. And then it's completely anonymous, so whatever they say, I can find out. So you can see that here, it's kind of a generic feedback form. They can provide it for any of the trig days or another thing in the course if they like it or not. What'd you like? What didn't you like? How can I improve? And is there anything else you want to add? Basic questions, but I really find it valuable and it gives the kids a sense of autonomy. All right, so that's our first folder. Day 2 is the same idea. You'll notice that every folder has a question for its title, and that's the only material that I cover in it. The key detail when I was designing this is that I want to make sure that I have very specific assignments, and I want them to take less than an hour and a half to be accomplished. So some days are a little bit easier than others, some days are a little harder than others. Here you'll see that they have an assignment to turn in, and that's because in this one Ed Puzzle video I have here, they go to a Desmos activity and they actually derive special right triangles. Sorry, that one. And although I love Desmos and everything, I don't want to always go there to find things. So in order to get away from having to keep going to different websites, if they submit a screenshot, it speeds up my grading. Then I have Schoology quiz/tests here that they can turn in, and they can have to score at least a 17.5 in order to get the check mark. A one-pager, just website that explains everything in one page. Discussion board, just like before. What now? Feedback form. And then my kids had given me some feedback. One, they didn't really understand it, so I created an extra video on special right triangles for them that I've uploaded here. And two, that they didn't really know how to do this on an iPhone calculator, so I borrowed my mom's phone and I made a quick screen recording to show them how to use it on an iPhone calculator. Down to day 3. Again, the setup is very similar. We got videos, we have an assignment. This one uses Wiser, which will auto check as they go. Again, they're submitting a screenshot so that I don't necessarily have to go to that website. An assessment that auto checks in Schoology that they can do until they get an 80%. 2 one-pagers because there's 2 topics, discussion board, what now, feedback form. Days 4 and 5 are a lot of the same. In day 4, it's how do we use the trig functions. Are we going to load? There it goes. So finding missing angles, again, it's videos, one-pagers, and actually this one I found is a website where there's a whole bunch of extra practice where they can get instant feedback on it. Word problems, one-pagers, spiral view. I use Socrative. I'm not really sure how to say it. I think it's called Socrative, like Socrates, but who knows. So I used that program in order to assign a lesson where they can go through and they practice. It immediately tells them how they did on the assignment and how they did on that question. And they need to go back and do it until they score at least an 80%. Then a lesson check. Again, it's a Schoology assessment. They got to score at least an 80. There's 5 questions there. They're word problems from trig. All I have it set up, and I can show you this one here. The way I have it set up is that the questions here are all fill in the blank, and they just type the number in. Because I've said you have to have this many decimal places and you have to write it this way, the answers automatically will check for me. Discussion board, what now, feedback form. All right, almost done with the folder. So now we have day 5, and that's what are radians and how are they found? So you might think, wow, that's a big jump. But unfortunately, due to the closures, we had to kind of smush this in versus having it be its own standalone unit. So it's a one-day, how do you go between radians and degrees? And I tried to explain in the videos how they would actually go through and use the unit circle with this. So the first thing I know is that if you're working with the unit circle, if you're working with radians, you got to review fractions. I have a ton of data from my students on that. And so what I have here is this thing called Boom Deck, Boom Cards, and it's actually a really nice, it's kind of like an interactive Google slideshow or PowerPoint where they can drag and drop different things and it'll tell them if it's right or wrong and keep track of their score. It's a little bit clunky to make, but some of the pre-made stuff is really good, so that's what I used here. Then we have the radians intro with example conversions, unit circle, and then an assignment where they just go and convert it. So I used Kahoot's homework problem section 1 where they can do it on their own time, and they have to score at least a 1200 out of the possible 1600 points if they got everything right. Then I have a one-pager here again where they can go through and convert things over and just see it, if they want to see it on one page. Discussion board, but this time it's a little bit different. So this time I want to know, what did you think was the hardest part of the unit? What was the easiest thing? They still have to respond to at least one other person, but the question's a little different because we're ending the unit. I want them to reflect on what they've learned. Again, the other thing that's going to be a little bit different here is the what now. In the what now, I have my same starting that they've seen for all the other days, but now it says great work, and they've finished, and that they're going to have this final assessment. And unfortunately, I can't give them any more than 20 attempts with assessments. They won't let us pick unlimited. But I mean, you can go through and you can tell them what's happening. This is where you summarize the page and what they did. And finally, in this folder, I had actually made a video on radians and conversions in the unit circle before, and I didn't like it. So I re-recorded, but because that first video I made, it wasn't bad. I just didn't like it. I didn't think it was as clear or concise as I could make it. I posted that here as some bonus content for them. I did not include any of the bloopers where I restarted the video 4 times. And now, to end this folder, we have our final assessment. So what I've done is I've put together a quick quiz that will auto-check itself and give them feedback on, do you really know this material or do you not? Because you're going to need it for the future. Now, of course, we have some students that don't have computers or Wi-Fi access consistently. So I have my printable materials here, and I have that posted for everybody. So I have the packet itself and the packet with answers, and the packet just follows the same path this folder does. It has a couple pages that explain what's going on. I found a book that I could use for it, and then it has practice problems. So I found this from Southern Cross University, just an intro, and then there's some practice problems. I have full answers available to them that's also sent, and then they also get that final assessment, because when that final assessment comes back, that's what we're going to use for a grade or completion. So this is my full graded learning. Everything, again, they have to work in order through the folders, but they can complete everything on their own time. That gives me the ability to provide feedback on all the submissions and be really quick on that turnaround. Now it's off to working on our second folder, which is going to be surface area and volume. So lots of videos to make there. So I hope this helps, guys. I hope you enjoyed getting to see other people's classes and what we're doing for this distance learning opportunity. Have a great night. Bye-bye.